Please welcome Ryan Paulson.
Well, sometimes people think I'm Mormon. And I told this story at another show, and when I said that, someone yelled out, "It's your hair!" It might be the hair. It's a lot of things, actually, I think. But I used to live in this neighborhood. It was this building was right across from a Mormon church. Okay, I'm just going to lower this stuff. You can see you guys. So I used to live right across the street from this Mormon church, and because there aren't a lot of Mormon churches in New York City, I would use it as a landmark, So if someone asked me where I live, I would say, "Oh, I live by the Mormon church." Until my friend pointed out, if you say I live by the Mormon church, it can sound like I live by the Mormon church. But in general, I think now is a good time to be a Mormon, if you were one. Like, Mitt Romney came in second place for president. That's good for a Mormon, right? I mean, that's good for anybody. The Book of Mormon is on Broadway. They have their own show. That's really good. And there was a couple years ago, there was this big, print campaign. You would see all these posters and ads on tops of cabs that it was like the I'm a Mormon campaign. Did you see any of these? It was like, it would be a picture of someone who appeared to be kind of like regular. And then it would say in big letters next to their head, it would say, "I'm a Mormon." But if you weren't looking at it, if you just saw it on the side of your eye, at first you could swear it said, "I'm a moron." So you'd see all these ads, and you'd be like, "I'm a moron? That person is a moron? That's such a weird campaign." And then my favorite one was, they were all over there. I saw one in Times Square. I saw a lot of taxi cabs. I think they had in magazines. My favorite was one where they were clearly trying to get people from different, to prove there was a lot of diversity in the Mormon church, which there totally isn't. So they found the one black Mormon are "You have to be in an ad for it." But this is my favorite one. They were like, we gotta touch everybody. So there's a picture of a guy, and he has a leather glove on, and he has a falcon on his arm. He's a Mormon falconer, which has got to be a group of one, right? He's a Mormon falconer, and of course it says "I'm a Mormon" on the side. And I thought, who are they trying to reach? Somewhere out there's some guy who's training his birds, and you can see that ad and be like, "I could be a Mormon. I wouldn't be alone. Now fly, Annabelle!" I don't like Mormons. I'll just be honest with you. And I think part of the reason is because I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian church. So basically, I think I kind of grew up like a Mormon, which is probably why it's a little bit of self-hatred. They remind me of what I used to be. I mean, growing up in the Pentecostal church, it was hardcore Christian fundamentalist. And it was basically like being a Mormon because we weren't allowed to have sex, or alcohol, or logic. But they would actually warn us about the Mormon church. Because as crazy as we were, we thought the Mormons were the crazy ones. And the pastor would literally say, "Everybody, I just want you to know, you gotta be careful for the Mormons. They're in a cult. Now everybody go back to speaking in tongues." So, there were these people, like I said, I lived in this building across the street from the Mormon church. And these people that I would see in the hallway, I didn't know their names, but I somehow knew them well enough to know their dog's name, which feels like a particularly New York thing to me. So I would just see them coming in, my wife and I, and we would say hi to them, and then they weren't really that excited to see us. Right? And we didn't know why, but they would say hello, but in that thinly veiled disgust. And until my wife said, "I bet they think we're Mormon." And these people, I knew a little bit about them because we were reading the paper one day and we saw they were profiled in the New York Times real estate section for a Habitats thing, and just showing their apartment, and they're New Yorker cartoonists. So they really sophisticated and worldly people, and they looked at us and thought, "Oh, look at those fucking Mormons." It turns out it's very hard to let someone know you're not Mormon if they think you're Mormon, like just an accident. And I needed my own "I'm not a Mormon" campaign. There'd be like pictures of me in big letters that say, "I'm not a Mormon." And my first reaction when I find out that they think I'm Mormon is to be like, "What? They think I'm Mormon? That's ridiculous. They don't even know me. Let me knock on their door and introduce myself." And I know that it shouldn't matter, right? Like, who cares? I mean, they think I'm Mormon, I'm not, it shouldn't matter. I just see them coming and going once or twice a week. But that's what bothers me, is because they think that I am what I used to be, you know? Like a religious fanatic. And I spent so many years trying to separate myself from the church and to have these sophisticated people who are, I don't know, worldly and cultured, to look at me like I'm the religious nut. It drives me crazy. Until one day I'm walking in a completely different part of the city. Nowhere near the building I live with these people, right? In the same building, in different neighborhood. I was walking down the street and I see them coming down the street. It's really random and just a weird coincidence, and I'm thinking, oh God, this is going to be so awkward, because it's always awkward when I see them. And I have this problem, which is probably why people think I'm Mormon, of when I'm uncomfortable, I make myself be like extra outgoing to compensate for the uncomfortableness. So, because I feel like if I take the bull by the horns, it'll make it better than just like reacting awkwardly. Proactive awkwardness is what I usually settle on. So they're coming down the street, and they're like crossing the crosswalk. There's no way to turn, like it's inevitable that we're on a crash course with each other. So as they get closer, I say, "Hey guys, how are you doing?" You know, and the woman jumps back, right? Like I'm some Mormon mother. She like jumps back, and then she jumps back, and then I jump back because she's jumped back because she's taken aback, and like we're both taking it back and forth. And then I'm in this awkward position because they clearly don't recognize me. She and her partner are standing there, and I feel like I have to justify having said hello, which is strange, right? But I had to tell them that I knew them from somewhere, and I wasn't some crazy Mormon on the loose. So what I wanted to say was, I'm your neighbor, so this shouldn't be weird for me to say hello, and I'm not even Mormon, so please don't look at me with all that disgust. But it was like a clogged pipe, like not all the words would come out. I was so flustered. So all that came out was, neighbors. And the woman just looks at me like, oh my God, what's wrong with this man? And then I thought, oh my God, that's not enough. They still don't know who I am, so I had to like prove that I knew them. So I looked down at their dog, and I said the name of the dog. I said, ha, Hammett. And they looked at me like, this poor man. And I walked off. And then a couple weeks later, my wife actually, we found the blog of this woman, cartoonist, where she had posted this cartoon. And you won't be able to see this from the stage, but I'll just kind of hold it up and show it. It says, suggested alternate functions for the closed door button on my elevator, right? Which is, of course, also my elevator, since we lived in the same building. And she suggests that sometimes she wonders what it would be like if the closed door button was a gun to kill your neighbor. If the closed door button was a guillotine to chop your neighbor's head off. Or it could be the closed door button could be electrocute your neighbor. And I saw this. And I was so relieved. Because I thought, she doesn't hate me because she thinks I'm Mormon. She hates me because I'm her neighbor. And if there's one thing I ask for in life, it's just to be hated for what I am, not what I used to be. But because I never want anyone else to make the mistake of thinking I'm Mormon, I wrote a little song about it. Sorry, it's a little loud. I'll tone it down a little bit. Is that okay? Does that hurt anybody's ears? I'll turn it down a little bit. It doesn't need to be that loud. Well, I'm actually not Mormon. I'm not a saint of Latter-day. I'm actually not Mormon. I just happen to look that way. Well, I'm actually not Mormon. I just like to wear short sleeves. I'm actually not Mormon. I just kind of look naive. So if I smile when I walk by you, doesn't mean I went to BYU. Just because I say good morning late